crap. Dudes, this thing freaking sticks. Oh my gosh. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another day with Treats on the Streets. My name is Gavin, and we're starting the morning off right in the driver's seat. Now, I always love starting the day off in the driver's seat because that means something good is about to happen. And something good is about to happen because we are on our way to Dirty Hero Customs in Salt Lake City. Now, you guys have heard me talk about that shop before. Head over to their Facebook page, give it a like, and you guys can follow some of the sweet builds that go through their shop, and maybe you can get some work done if you need something. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but that 600 wheel horsepower 335 that you guys saw I made a video of, a lot of the stuff that was put on that car was done at Dirty Hero Customs, especially the most important part, the turbos. So check them out. Now today, I'm leaving them in charge of one of my favorite modifications, and you'll hear more about that in just a minute. Here we are. They're on. What do you say? We see what they look like on the car, and then we'll go for a little drive. Now I have the ride height set just about how I like it, but I'm going to drive 300 miles, let the spring set a little bit, and then go back in for a readjustment. When I go in for that, I think I'm going to have it dropped about another 1/4 of an inch front and back, and then it should be just about perfect for how I like it. So let's talk about these Megan Spec-RS coilovers and go over some of the features and things that these things come with. Something I've never personally had on coilovers before are external reservoirs like these ones. Their external reservoirs are for the dampening adjustment. They're 32-way adjustable. On the end, as you can see right here, there's a little knob that you twist to adjust those. They also come with pillow ball upper mounts to help get rid of compliance and rubber bushings and allow finer adjustment and fine tuning, along with the camber plates up here, so you can dial in your suspension the way that you want it. You can also see adjustment knobs here, and those are for the rebound. Now that we've talked about the fronts, let's move on to the backs. The rears have external reservoirs for the dampening, just like the fronts do. They also come with the pillow ball upper mounts, just like the fronts do. These coilovers also come with separate height adjustments, so no matter how high or low the car is set, you maintain full stroke of the suspension. All of the parts seem to be built ultra beefy and are high quality. I can tell when holding and handling everything that they're built just a little bit better. They have a nice, strong, heavy weight to them. Another plus is they come with new end links. I think that's about all I want to go over with the coilovers. And now, as I try to make you guys hopefully not too dizzy, let's go over the next part that's going to get put on the car, and that is the adjustable rear lower control arms. They have adjustment on both sides to help you really dial in your suspension. And when you give them the shake test, they don't fall apart into a million pieces, and that's always a good thing, isn't it? Now that we've talked about the coils and we talked about the control arms, let's go test these babies out. So before we get to where we're going, let's just talk a little bit about how they make your car look and not so much how they drive. So if you're looking just for a little bit of performance and mostly just to make your car look lower, then lowering springs can be a good option. Now, I've owned lowering springs from reputable companies, and they were pretty good springs. No matter what company you buy them from, you're just not going to get the same type of performance that coilovers will give you. Now, if coilovers are going to be adjustable at all, for the entry-level ones, most of the time they're just adjustable with the ride height and not really the dampening. The nice thing about adjustable coilovers is that you can really fine-tune the height independent of the front and the back, and if you're a little more serious about driving, then you can corner balance the car as well. And even having the freedom to be able to adjust it just a 1/8 of an inch up or down can make that little bit of a difference if you're as picky about it as I am. Now, as far as normal driving goes, not really anything crazy, just normal day-to-day driving, the first thing that you're gonna notice is that it is a little bit stiffer. The ride's gonna be just a little bit more bumpy. You're also gonna notice when you're making little turns that it's just gonna be a little bit more responsive. You're gonna change directions quicker, and even just with light driving, you can tell that they're there. And honestly, they make the car more fun to drive no matter what kind of driving you're doing. Now, I can understand if you live in a place where there's pretty much just straight roads everywhere and nowhere with curves, why getting coilovers might not be that high up on your list of priorities. But if you do live anywhere where there's twisties, turns, canyons, even flat roads with turns, they're gonna make your car a lot more fun. Now why don't we get into why I titled the video the way that I did, saying that these are gonna make you hate your stock suspension. Well, you remember how just a second ago, I said that even in just normal day-to-day driving, it's gonna make it a little bit more fun? Well, the harder that you push the car, the higher that level of fun's gonna go. Now, unless you have a really expensive performance car that comes with insane suspension out of the box, pretty much every car is gonna benefit from putting on some coilovers, some good quality ones. Ones that are adjustable, not just with ride height, but especially with dampening. When you can adjust the dampening, you can set them completely soft and the ride will be almost essentially like stock. Or you can stiffen them up for when you're doing some hard driving. And it really just gives you a lot more control and a lot more confidence when you're going fast taking corners. It also helps translate what your car is doing with the road that much better. And the more that you can understand what your car is doing, the better the driver you're gonna be, the safer the driver that you're gonna be, and the less chance that you're gonna wreck your car when you're doing something a little crazy. So if you've never had coilovers before, you're not really gonna know what I'm talking about. Now, I'm not saying that a car handles bad if you don't have them. I still had a lot of fun before I put these on. Well, you can relate it to your favorite place to get a cheeseburger, let's say. You may have tried a burger that you think is the best you've ever had in your life, but it's only gonna be that way until you try another place that's got one that's better. So once you've tasted something better, it's hard for you to go back to something that's just not as good. And that's the way that it is with suspension and coilovers. You're gonna be completely satisfied with what you feel has been the best until you try something better. And with fully adjustable coilovers like these, you're definitely trying something better. Now, I can say from experience, in all the cars that I've owned, and all the cars that I've driven, my friends' cars that have coilovers as well, every single one of them has been a lot better after the coilovers are put on. Now let's get up this canyon and do our best not to fly off the edge. One of the biggest things that you're gonna notice when you put on some coilovers is that when you're taking turns, the transition from left to right, you're gonna have a lot flatter body. There's not gonna be as much roll. Now, even though these aren't sway bars, there are sway bars on the car, but even though coilovers really aren't sway bars, they do help to control that sway a lot better than if you just got springs and sways even. I remember when I first bought my Legacy, the suspension was completely stock. There was so much body roll that it almost felt unsafe to drive on the freeway even. So what I did at first was got springs and sway bars. And yeah, it was better than stock, but it just wasn't enough for me. So then I got rid of the springs, got some coilovers, and man, that was the biggest difference out of anything I've ever done with suspension. And that's why I've come to love coilovers. So in addition to the body roll being a lot more flat, woo, man, when you're taking turns, the steering is so much more direct. The time from when you point the steering wheel to when you feel the car start to do something, that time is a lot shorter. When you're making little adjustments mid-corner, they happen a lot quicker and they're much more controlled. Another thing that I really love about these is when you're taking turns fast, flat out, especially on roads like this, where it's not completely flat, the roads aren't perfect, there are some bumps, the body feels so much more composed when it's getting tossed around in corners. Once the weight sets into one side, it really feels like it's just clawing the ground. A lot of times when I'm watching Randy Post on Motor Trend, when he tests the cars on the track, he has the most fun in cars that are A, engaging, and that B, give you confidence. Now, confidence doesn't necessarily mean that it's easy to drive, but what it means is that when you push it, you really don't feel like you're gonna be in a ton of danger. And I agree with him in saying that those are two of the big things that just make a car that much more fun to drive. Now, pushing a car to its limits and sliding around a little bit is a lot of fun, but I like to feel like I'm in control when I'm doing it. Now, do I think that coilovers like these with separate dampening and compression adjustment are what everyone should get? No, I really don't think so. You can still get, hold on. Oh man. you can still have, geez, a ton of fun with coilovers that are just adjustable with the dampening and compression in a single adjustment. And for most people who just like to have fun every once in a while, those are gonna be definitely good enough for you. But if you, like me, holy cow, dude, man, the transitions are so much better. But if you, like me, like to take your car or want to take your car to a racetrack or drift events in the future, then I do recommend getting ones that are separately adjustable. When you can do that fine tuning, hold on, this is my favorite turn. We gotta pause for a second. Oh man. Oh dude, it just freaking grips, I'm telling you. Even though I haven't changed the tires, I can go a ton faster around the turns. It just feels like I have so much more grip. But anyways, when you have that availability to just get that much more fine tuning in the way your car handles, it does make a difference. You're not really gonna notice it, you're not really gonna need it unless you are taking it to a racetrack or driving super hard or something like that. But to me, what makes a car fun to drive is the experience, the way that the car communicates to you, how you have that relationship with it. And the better that you can feel those things, the more enjoyable your car is going to be to drive. But, so to wrap this up, what do I think about my first experience in having Megan coilovers? Well, in a nutshell, I'd definitely buy them again. They look and feel like they're very high quality. My steering response is much better. I can take corners a lot faster. My level of confidence is much higher. And the E36 M3 is just that much more enjoyable now. And we're all in it for the enjoyment, aren't we? So if you're looking for a great set of coilovers, I definitely recommend the Megan Spec-RS's. But if you're looking for something just a little bit cheaper, I usually say that it's pretty safe to stay around any brand as long as it's around the $800 to $1,000 mark. If you guys have any questions about any of the specifics that I didn't mention, feel free to ask me in the comments. As always, I want to thank you guys all for joining me and watching these episodes. If you like reviews of parts like this and me talking about the things that I put on this car, give me a thumbs up to let me know, and I'll make sure to keep making videos like this. If this is your first time heading over to the channel, do not forget to subscribe. You can click the logo behind my head to do so. And if you want to see more Treats on the Streets, you can click these two videos here. Now I'm going to shut up and do some more driving. I will see you guys next time.